All right, everyone, welcome back. We're diving into something today that's pretty controversial, to say the least.
Yeah, this whole meta thing, huh? It's really got people fired up.
Definitely. We're talking about all these reports of people suddenly finding themselves following Trump accounts on Meta.
Yeah, forced follows, they're calling it.
Right, and even if you've never shown any interest in that kind of content, you might just end up with Trump posts in your feed.
It's unsettling, to say the least. Like, are we really in control of our online experience? That's the question a lot of people are asking.
Exactly. So today, we're going to try and figure out what's really going on here. We're going to break down this whole forced follows situation, look at what Meta's saying about it.
Which, let's be honest, hasn't exactly been convincing for a lot of folks.
Not really, no. And we'll also explore what this whole thing means for, for us as users. What does it say about the power these platforms have?
And what about the role of AI? Because that seems to be at the heart of it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Now, Meta's official line is that they're not forcing anyone to follow anything. They say their algorithms simply suggest accounts based on, your activity, what you engage with. But I think a lot of people are finding that hard to swallow.
Yeah, and I can see why. It's not like this is the first time we've seen these algorithms make some, well, questionable decisions.
Right. Like, what comes to mind for you?
Well, just recently, Meta's own AI assistant, the one they've been touting as super advanced, well, it made a pretty big blunder. It actually stated, incorrectly, that there had been an attempted assassination of Trump.
Oh, wow. I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. Now, you might be thinking, what does that have to do with forced follows? But I think it's actually very relevant because it shows us that even these sophisticated AI systems, they're not infallible.
They can make mistakes.
Exactly. And these systems, they learn from data, right?
Yeah.
Huge amounts of it. But what happens when that data is incomplete or even biased?
You get inaccurate outcomes.
Exactly. So applying that to this forced follows situation, it's not hard to imagine the algorithm misinterpreting user data. Let's say you've liked or commented on posts related to U.S. politics.
Right, because that's a hot topic these days.
It is. So the algorithm, it sees that activity, and it might jump to the conclusion that you're interested in Trump, even if you've never directly engaged with his accounts.
So basically, it's making assumptions.
Right. And that brings up a whole other issue. Transparency. How are these algorithms actually making these decisions?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Like, as users, we have almost no insight into that process.
Exactly. And that's a problem. Because if an algorithm can get something as seemingly simple as following someone wrong, what other implications are there?
I mean, think about it. What does it mean for our ability to control our own online experience? The kind of information we're exposed to?
That's the scary part. The potential for manipulation is definitely there. What if an algorithm is constantly feeding you content that reinforces a particular viewpoint?
Even if you don't agree with it.
Exactly. Over time, that could subtly shape your perceptions. You might start to think that's the only perspective that exists. It limits your exposure to different viewpoints.
And it undermines the whole point of, having agency online. You're not really choosing what you see, are you?
Right. And this is particularly concerning when you consider the role social media plays in our lives. It's how we get our news, how we interact with each other.
It shapes our worldview, in a way.
Absolutely. So when these platforms, through their algorithms, have so much control over what we see and don't see, well, it raises some big questions about freedom of information, about the health of public discourse.
So what can we do about it? How can we take back control?
That's the million-dollar question. For starters, platforms like Meta need to be more transparent. We need clear explanations of how these algorithms work.
And the ability to actually adjust our preferences, not just like a fake button that doesn't do anything.
Exactly. Real control. But it's also up to us as users to be more critical. We need to be aware of how these algorithms might be shaping our feeds.
So don't just passively consume everything you see.
Right. Be active. Seek out diverse perspectives. Don't get trapped in these filter bubbles where you're only seeing what the algorithm thinks you want to see.
Wow, that's a lot to think about. This whole force follows thing is really just the tip of the iceberg, isn't it?
It is. It raises some fundamental questions about the role of AI in our lives. How do we ensure it's serving us, not the other way around?
Because right now it feels a little bit like the machines are in control.
A little bit, yeah. And if even seemingly neutral algorithms can lead to these kinds of controversies, well, I think it's time we have a serious conversation about how we shape the future of online interaction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How do we ensure our digital spaces remain places of genuine connection, of informed discourse? That's something we all need to think about.
Definitely. And I think this whole situation, as uncomfortable as it is a good reminder that we can't just be passive consumers. We need to be active participants in shaping our online experience.
Well said. So listeners, next time you're scrolling through your feed, take a moment to really think about what you're seeing. Ask yourself, am I choosing this, or is something else guiding my choices? Because that's a question we all need to be asking ourselves.
Absolutely. Our online experience should be just that, ours.
Thanks for joining us today for this deep dive. It's been enlightening, to say the least.
It has, and a little bit unsettling, but hopefully in a way that makes us all more aware.
Exactly. And that's what we're here for, to spark these conversations, to get people thinking critically. So until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay in control.
And remember, question everything, especially those algorithms.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for us. See you all next time.
See ya.